Well, so that's tricky because if I revealed to my younger self what I'm now aware of, I would not have had the opportunity to do what I came to do. So I'm not certain how to answer that. But in general, one piece of wisdom that I think is important to share is
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now, just one, because I know you have a lot, but just one, and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
uh, well, that's tough, because I know that so many of the mistakes I made, like they have helped me to grow and become a better person, even though, I wish I kind of wish I could avoid them. But I guess the main thing I would tell younger me is just to be good to other people, and not to do things that I knew were wrong, or that would hurt anyone else. That I should take advantage of any opportunity I ever have to help somebody else, while rejecting any opportunity I have to do something that would hurt somebody else. That's probably the advice I'd give a younger me.
I for sure like it. I think that should be skywritten all over
Right.
the world,
Yeah.
right? That's great advice. If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
I think it wouldn't be necessarily a piece of wisdom, but I get where you're going. I would figure out a way to give my younger self my life review back then, because that was the most powerful moment that I had during my NDE. And in fact, I wish that I could give that to everybody right now, just to have a life review without going through a physical trauma. But if I could do one thing to wisen up my younger self, I would give my younger self a life review. I don't think anything I would say now would have gotten through, but the life review would have done it.
Right. To have that visceral experience of how you impacted everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
well, so that's tricky because if I revealed to my younger self what I'm now aware of, I would not have had the opportunity to do what I came to do. So I'm not certain how to answer that. But in general, one piece of wisdom that I think is important to share is there is absolutely nothing to be afraid of. Like we actually are powerful multidimensional beings having a human experience. Like we are. It's not just a religious thing, a mythological thing, I know may seem at times like a nice far off dream or something. We really are multidimensional beings having a physical experience. And in our true nature, there is absolutely nothing to fear. I think that's just so important to remind each other of every day here.
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to any younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
That what you see of yourself is not who you are. That your physical self, emotional self, psychological self, that's a lower level of you. What you actually are is the divine light itself. And that this is experiential. And if you go in pursuit of it, if you use the tools that have been handed down through centuries and stick with them, and what they are essentially breath, body, and mental focus, and they eliminate they eliminate the attachment to the false self, that you'll find an energy inside of you that'll include humility, that'll change everything about you and channel heaven here now. And then you get the giver, and with the giver, you get all these gifts. And they might not be what you think you need, but they're definitely better than you will ever think you do need. That was a terrible sentence.
Thank you so much for that. I love it. When I first got sober, I learned that one of my mantras became, um, gosh, it was so right on with what you said, and I can't remember it now, but God's will for me is better than I could ever imagine, and I have a really good imagination.
Yes, it is. A lot of people try to manifest what they want in life, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I try to manifest stuff at like my manifesting my college degree. I worked hard and I made that happen. But better for me to manifest heaven now inside myself, because that's what's really lasting. And the gifts that come from that are not things, but there's strength and courage, perseverance, fortitude, humility, kindness, mercy, love, compassion, strength. The gifts are the gifts of selflessness, and they create a better world.
All right, I'll tell you. I think I know. I got you. But I have to describe the delivery vehicle, which would be a really big hug. Like, I want to put my arm around that troubled young man.
Yeah.
And hug him up. And I'm going to cry again. Whisper into his ear, "You got this. Just listen carefully."
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that piece of wisdom be?
It would be one sentence. You're not broken. You're precious. That's it. I wish that I could have understood that as a kid, as an abused boy, that I wasn't broken. I was precious. And that's hard for us to hear or truly understand. But sometimes, what makes us, most times, what makes us is the hardships, is the obstacles. And that's what makes us who we are. That's what shapes us. And to me, that is just as important as the good stuff happening to us, if not more. And that helps us know who we've become. Yeah.
We are precious. Thank you.
We are precious.
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
It will always be the same thing, even though I knew it even back then, but it'll be still the same thing till I die. Trust, trust, trust. Trust yourself, that you've got it, that into the depth of who you are, you're loving, you're powerful, you're safe. Trust life to always take care of you, to show up for you. Trust the universe, that it has a bigger plan than what you can ever imagine and execute on your own, that you're not alone, that it's all a current taking you there. So just keep trusting.
Let's see. To a younger version of myself, I would say, don't be afraid, and be brave, because lots of things don't happen because of self-repression, and a lot of growth gets hindered because of fear and lack of bravery.
That your gut instinct is right, that you need to trust yourself more, that what people, just because adults say things doesn't mean it's true, that your inner knowledge, that your intuition or whatever is on point, and like, don't let other people gaslight you into believing it's not, and to always, and don't conform just because that's the norm. I'm sorry, like, that is, like, that whole thing, your intuition's on point, and so, like, if you feel like something's wrong, it's wrong. Like, that's it. You don't have, that's what it would be, because I think I suffered a lot at the hands of like trying to just fit in and like go with the status quo, and like, to my detriment at the end of the day. And then of course it ended up all being nonsense, and like time wasted, opportunities wasted because of it. So always like be true to yourself, like be true to yourself, because yourself at your core knows exactly who you are, exactly what you need to do. and exactly where you need to be. And like when you let other influences come and mess with you like that, that's when you get off track. And if you just like and I mean, it's almost impossible though. but that's, I definitely would have told her that.
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
Buy Bitcoin when it was 25 cents a Bitcoin. Probably the biggest advice that I don't know if I'd be able to convince my younger self, because he was a pretty stubborn SOB. He was a pretty mean, stubborn guy. I would say, stop worrying so much about what's coming next. Do your best to enjoy life and treat others good without worrying too much about tomorrow. It doesn't mean don't plan for tomorrow, but don't worry about it, because I spent too much of my life worrying about what could happen. And many of those things I worried about that could happen never happened.
I hear you.
Thinking about it, it's like going back and seeing that part of me, right? That's that just is completely lost. Like, and just imagining that they come up to me, what would I say?
Read my book. No. No, I'm messing. The Wisdom of Jacob's, I know I'm messing. I would say, you know, I study human behavior certainly as a therapist, and I look at the statistical data of what common with people who are at the end of life for people in Alzheimer's, and what they regret. And the common regret that people have is usually trying to be someone else's version of who that person wanted you to be instead of being who you are. And so I would say to myself, like, stop, thinking about how the magnitude of what you're doing, noticing that it all pass. You don't regret what you do, you usually regret what you don't do. And so I think in my childhood, I was just kind of like that paralyzed kid where I just, I didn't take shots. I just froze up. I just, was so fear driven as a kid, and just worrying about things that were so insignificant, and understand that all of life passes, and it's just kind of like the clouds in the sky. They all just move, and just kind of doing your will, doing what you want, and not always worrying about what everyone will think of you or judgment. Just really doing your dance and not worrying about what other people will think of it, instead of constantly editing yourself like a robot to please the cultural consciousness around you.
If you could take a piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that piece of wisdom be?
I would say trust your own feelings, and it's okay to relax more, because I would often put so much pressure on myself, and I would look to others for answers. And even experiences echo this, that and just being is okay. Like, you don't have to try so hard to fit anything.
Oh, that's another book right there. Okay. Right. Oh, well, I wouldn't be who I am now without everything I've gone through. So just to let her know that she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. She's going to be okay. Yeah. And also that she is loved beyond measure.
If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
I would say, don't believe what anybody says. Listen to your own wisdom. Don't even listen to me, even though I'm 40-something-year-old Tyler talking to mini Tyler, and but I would just say, that your feelings are perfect. Don't, just feel them. And, there's a lot of talk about, okay, mini Tyler, like, you're going to hear a lot of stuff about You're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're not your body, you're not anything, but you are everything. So I just want you to acknowledge that if you're feeling something, that's perfect, and just allow yourself to feel that completely. And you'll get through.
I've been thinking about that. I think it would be, don't take everything so seriously. Make mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just make them, and be able to acknowledge them. Because once you acknowledge your mistakes, you can improve yourself. This is the only way. I wish I could have said that to me before.
I know. If you could take one piece of wisdom that you have now and offer it to a younger version of yourself, what would that one piece of wisdom be?
God, I think about this every day, honestly. I don't know if it's a wisdom, it'd be more of a phrase, don't give up. That would be the first one, is don't give up. The other thing would be trust your intuition more. Like, realize that what you're thinking, what you're getting, that's real. Trust your intuition more. Yeah, that would be my piece of wisdom.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
What would you give yours?
Yeah, relax. Relax. Just breathe, relax.
Yes.
Trust yourself.
Yeah.
And don't give up. You are worthy of having what you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And don't fall into the hands of, I guess you'd say, people that don't appreciate you for who you are.
Yeah.
And get rid of them earlier.
Yeah.
Chuck it in the bucket.
Yes. Surround yourself with people who co-sign your dreams.
Absolutely.
I love that.
I'm right there with you on that. Yeah.
I would like to personally thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you haven't already, please be sure to like this episode, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so that you never miss a beat. And if you really resonated with this content, please share it with all of your friends so that collectively we can expand our consciousness. Have a very blessed week.